When the court adjourned at noon, the crown prince frowned the moment he saw me. Didn't I tell you to stop looking for me? It won't look good if my future crown princess sees this. I rolled my eyes. Who said I'm here for you? I'm here for my husband. He turned white with anger. We just broke off our engagement a month ago. Where did you get a husband? Right there. Beaming, I held a pastry box and ran toward his bitter rival. Husband, your wife is here with your meal. 1. My father is the prime minister of the dynasty. He is to be exiled to a remote region after being accused of treason. I knelt before the emperor and wept bitterly. Your Majesty, my father and mother are advanced in years. They truly cannot endure the journey. Please forgive him just this once for my sake. The emperor's former chief eunuch smiled kindly. You are no longer the future crown princess now. How about this? If you can marry young General Shun of the Shun family before Lina takes a wife, I shall grant your request. Shun Beichen, that youngest young general of our dynasty, the one I've bickered with since childhood, he hates me the most, but right now, I have no choice if I don't act. My family will be sent to the borderlands. I gritted my teeth. Very well, Your Majesty, I hope you keep your word. He smiled. A ruler never goes back on his word. 2, actually. Shun Beichen and I weren't always on such bad terms as children. Born into a prominent military family, he was cold and unsmiling from a young age. I was simply curious to see what he looked like when angry. So, when he practiced swordsmanship, I hid his sword. When he read books, I poured water on them. When he finally passed an assessment by his general father and got 2 sweet pastries he was never allowed to eat, I snatched them right out of his hand. Shun Beichen may have been cold, but he was no fool. He finally lost his temper, his eyes reddened at the corners with rage, and he was so flustered he could barely tell up from down. When he came to confront me, my former fiancé the crown prince protected me at every turn. Beichen, why bother squabbling with a little girl like Xiao? When he went to complain to the elders, my prime minister father laughed awkwardly and made excuses for me. She's just a silly little girl who doesn't know any better. Uncle will buy you a new sword, new books, new pastries. Unlike me and the crown prince, his mother had passed away early, and his father was extremely strict with him. In such a situation, his father would only call him useless. As time went by, this iceberg of a boy would blow up like a firecracker the moment he saw me, and I only grew bolder, relying on the people backing me to bicker and fight with him endlessly. Back then, the crown prince also disliked him, thinking he was far too cold. Moreover, Shun Beichen outshone him in both studies and martial arts, so he naturally helped me against Shun Beichen. But who could have imagined that on the day my father fell from power, the only ones who came to see him were father and son Shun. The crown prince distanced himself from our family the moment the trouble arose. He immediately began looking for a new candidate for crown princess. Sigh, I never thought I'd end up like this. If I'd known, I wouldn't have opposed him back then. Now, getting him to marry me is harder than climbing to the sky. 2. Sure enough, his first reaction upon seeing me was to roar, Chen Xiao, what are you doing here? I jumped in fright, regaining my senses and seeing his handsome face. I retorted on instinct, it's none of your business, minding other people's business. Shun Beichen glared at me with his phoenix eyes. Furious, Chen Xiao, are you out of your mind? You're standing right at the door of my room. Shun Beichen was known throughout the capital as an ascetic ice-cold beauty, yet now he looked like an indignant little hound. His shout jolted me into remembering my errand. I smiled awkwardly and asked tentatively, Hey, young General Shun, we've known each other for so long. Do you think you could, by any chance, marry me, marry you, just to have you cheat on me? He sneered coldly. Really, what a dark mind. Of course not, if I become your wife. I will strictly abide by a wife's duties and wait on the young general every single day. He touched his nose, raised his eyebrows, and suddenly stepped close to me. I stepped back, and he just happened to wrap an arm around my waist. His nose was almost touching mine. His voice was deep and melodious. Wait on me, you. A young lady from a noble family, how do you plan to wait on me? Why don't you show me first? As he spoke, his strong arm lifted me up and carried me into his room. He pressed me down on the table. The moment our eyes met, I suddenly thought he was rather good-looking. His phoenix eyes were narrow and long, his nose straight and high, better looking than the crown prince. I wouldn't be losing out, but I was inexperienced after all. Watching his hand reach for me, I couldn't hold it in any longer and burst into tears. I'm scared, Shenbei-chen, I'm scared. Can you marry me first, then? 3. He frowned and quickly pulled away from me. He even kindly straightened my half-slouched clothes. Forget it, your sincerity is lacking. You want to marry me, but I don't want to take you as my wife, a snot-nosed little girl. Besides, he narrowed his eyes at me and pointed a finger at his own head. Mine works just fine. Never been hit by a brick. With that, he flicked his sleeve and left, leaving me standing there alone. I suddenly remembered that when we were children, I said he was as cold as ice. And anyone who married him must have a brain damaged by a donkey kick. He'd hopped madly with rage. Chen Xiao, anyone who marries you must have their head smashed by a brick. My eyes lit up. That's easy, just let him get hit once. 4. My maid Xiaodao stopped me before I could climb onto the beam of the house. She was almost in tears. Young lady, this can't be right. Someone could die. I waved a hand dismissively. It's fine, it's fine. Shenbei-chen is a martial artist. He's performed breaking a big stone on his chest. A little hit won't hurt him. But still, you can't just, don't grab it, don't grab it. This thing is heavy. We were locked in a tug-of-war when we suddenly heard a familiar angry shout from not far away. Shenbei-chen's. Chen Xiao, what kind of trick are you up to now? His shout startled me. My hand slipped, and the stone flew right out of my grasp. It hit the delicate woman standing right next to Shenbei-chen square on. She was Miss Chang. Daughter of the current Grand Commandant, Lord Chang intended to marry his youngest daughter to Shenbei-chen, and had deliberately arranged for the two to be alone. As a result, this delicate beauty, as frail as a willow branch, seemed to have been smashed to pieces by the stone. No time to think. I turned and ran for my life. 3. 2 days later, rumors of hidden weapons in the Shen mansion spread throughout the entire capital. From then on, no one dared to marry the sought-after young General Shen anymore. Everyone was afraid of being smashed to death. General Shen flew into a rage and beat Shenbei-chen 10 strokes with a bamboo cane, scolding him for failing to protect a woman and letting Miss Chang get hurt right under his nose. Burning with resentment, Shenbei-chen came to my house for 2 consecutive days to confront me. Clutching his beaten bottom, I hid in my room, racking my brains for a way out. Not daring to step outside the door, it wasn't until evening that Xiaodao rushed over, throwing etiquette to the wind and yanking back my quilt. Young lady, young Master Shen said if you don't see him this time, he'll get a donkey to kick your head. That ruthless. Chen Xiao, come out here for me. He burst in suddenly, then froze. I was in my boudoir, wearing only a small bellaband, even though Xiaodao shouted and grabbed a quilt to wrap around me. My round shoulders were still exposed to the air. We stared at each other, both thinking of the scene a few days prior in his room. Our cheeks flushed slightly. I clearly saw his Adam's apple bob. An idea struck me, and I told Xiaodao to leave. I smiled and asked him, am I pretty? Marry me, and you can look at me every day. A beauty trap once, twice, it always works on men. He stepped closer to me. His slender fingers caressed my bare skin, slowly moving downward. This time, I forced down my fear and didn't dare move an inch. He stopped again, his thin lips parted. I'll give you 2 choices. 1. Become my woman right now. I'll ensure you a life of wealth and honor for the rest of your days, but you'll have no title whatsoever. 2. Complete my 3 challenges within 3 months. I'll marry you at once, and never take a concubine. After speaking, he even brushed his lips lightly against my earlobe. Option 1 was clearly the easier one. But no title for a lifetime. I was after all the daughter of a prime minister. Even if it was a thing of the past, I still needed my status. Without hesitation, I grabbed his wandering hand and panted softly. The second one. He let out a cold laugh. Are you sure? A spoiled young lady who's always been protected by others, you'll have to endure a lot for the second one. Looking down on me. Ridiculous. Even without the crown prince, even without my father to protect me, I can still win. But on the surface, I put on a delicate and innocent look. I'm willing to endure any hardship as long as I can marry you. Sigh. This time, it was his turn to blush, even his ears turned red. For the first challenge, apologize to the girl I accidentally injured in the capital, and make everyone know that there are no hidden weapons in the Shen mansion, no servants to help you, you have to do it all by yourself. Xiao Dao looked at Shen Beichen with stars in her eyes and stepped back obediently at his words, forgetting her loyalty for a pretty face. Alone, holding a gift box of pastries, I hesitated at the gate of the Chang mansion. Shen Beichen really knew me well, born into the Prime Minister's family. I was of noble birth, engaged to the Crown Prince since childhood, he'd protected me in everything. I'd never apologized to anyone in my life, it was always others who apologized to me, or for me. I'd always said, I plan to rely on my father and my husband for the rest of my life. So what? I'm not relying on you. Now, Shen Beichen had really given me a taste of my own medicine. I forced myself to step forward and knock on the door. Sure enough, both the gifts and I were thrown out by Lord Chang, still acting like the Prime Minister's precious daughter. Pa, get out, sigh. I rubbed my bottom. No choice. Times have changed. Once upon a time, when Lord Chang was fawning all over my father, he would have surely said, it's fine, children will be children, but that was all in the past. With no other way, I came to beg for forgiveness every single day. Hard work pays off. Finally, one day, the delicate and gentle Miss Chang Wn came out, supporting her frail body. Father, let Miss Chen come in. She was so delicate, like a flower on the verge of breaking. Looking at her, I truly felt like a sinner. I wallowed in my guilt, unable to pull myself out. Until she led me into her boudoir, took out a large jar of strong liquor, and lifted it onto the table with one hand. Rolling up her sleeves, she said in a bold and unrestrained voice, can you drink? If you can, I'll forgive you. Did I actually get kicked by a donkey and start hallucinating? I told the truth. I can't drink alcohol. No. Father always says young ladies shouldn't drink recklessly. Young ladies are people too. We can love drinking too. I finally got my hands on you. You have to keep me company. I had a favor to ask, so I had to swallow my pride, and so, I got thoroughly drunk. Cheers, brother. May the 5 blessings be yours. 6 sixes. All the best. You lost. I stared dazedly. Oh, I lost. What now? Miss Chang Wn, known throughout the capital for her gentleness, lit up. She pulled me close and said, aren't you very close to young General Shen Beichen? He's the most famous gossip among the young ladies of the capital. He's cold every day. And we're all extremely curious about him. I was stunned when I saw him lose his temper and shout at you at the Shen mansion last time. How about this? We open a tea house outside, specially to share the secrets behind the iceberg that is young General Shen with my boudoir friends. We charge 2 taels of silver per person, and split the profits 50-50. What do you say? Sigh, what a great idea. I can just tell them there are no hidden weapons in the Shen mansion, and make money too. Ever since father was demoted, my pocket money has been almost gone. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Perfect. Deal. 5. I drank late into the night that day, and in the end, Xiao Dao helped me out through the back gate of the Chang mansion. I was dead drunk, and naturally couldn't go home. Fortunately, Shen Beichen had come with Xiao Dao and had been waiting for me outside the Chang mansion. We went straight to his mansion outside the city. I sent you to apologize, and you got yourself drunk like this. It's all your fault. I pressed my face right up to his. I raised a finger and spun it toward the sky. If it weren't for your stupid challenges, you're stupid. Would I have had to drink? I must have been drunk, my vision blurry, but I swear I saw him smiling. He looked at me earnestly. You've always followed your crown prince brother around since childhood. I never thought that one day, you'd do all this, for me. His fingers brushed my cheek gently, almost tenderly. But the moment he mentioned the crown prince, that bastard, I felt sick to my stomach, and then, my stomach churned, and I threw up, all over him. Chen Xiao, that night, the roosters outside the city were so scared by his roar that they crowed early. But this was just the beginning. Before long, the secret tea house about young General Shen Beichen opened smoothly. I told Chang Wn to keep a low profile, but unfortunately, Shen Beichen had far too many admirers. Word spread, and before I knew it, it reached his ears. He was so angry he almost crowed like a rooster himself. I had originally planned to get this over with quickly, but as soon as everyone sat down, Shen Beichen arrived, a broadsword in hand. 6. I stared at the silver in my hand, my guests outside, and Shen Beichen's gleaming broadsword. No way, a scholar may die, but his wealth must not be insulted. I hardened my heart, threw my arms around his arm, and burrowed into his chest with all my might. I begged him in the softest voice I could muster. Oh, Shen Beichen, look at all those people waiting for me outside. If I don't go, how will my father and I face the world from now on? I'm begging you, Shen Beichen, just let me go. I swear I won't talk nonsense, just one story. And I'll leave right after, please. Good Shen Beichen, brother Beichen. I'd never shown weakness to him in my life. At that moment, I could clearly feel his body stiffen. He gripped my chin and suddenly asked, "Did you ever call the Crown Prince brother?" That question, of course not. I stared at him with wide eyes, my voice growing even softer. "Only you, brother Beichen. I only call you brother Beichen." He finally relented. His voice was cold. "I'll let you go. But when you come back tonight, I want payment." I blinked. "What payment?" He leaned down even closer, his thin lips almost touching mine. His voice was deep, utterly tempting. "You'll find out tonight." With no other options, I could only nod. Shen Beichen's expression finally softened. A faint curve tugging at the corner of his mouth, almost a smile. I was overjoyed too, when the young ladies outside saw the ice-cold beauty Shen Beichen personally keeping watch. They were so happy they gave a lot more reward money. I made a fortune, and naturally, I pulled out all the stops, eager to tell all of Shen Beichen's embarrassing secrets. I forgot he was right next to me. His face grew darker and darker. 7. That night, he abducted me straight back to his mansion outside the city. His usually emotionless eyes seemed to be spitting fire. "Chen Xiao, did you put the mouse in my bed back then? Was it also you who sawed my sword in half? Do you know how many beatings I took for that?" Oh no, I'd been too caught up in the moment earlier, forgetting he was right there. I tried to explain, but he gave me no chance. He kissed my lips fiercely, our lips and teeth clashed, and I heard him say, "Chen Xiao, if I don't make you cry tonight, I'll change my surname." I'll admit it, I was scared at that moment, but I couldn't push him away, not even an inch. I was so anxious that my forehead broke out in a sweat. Suddenly, I heard Xiaodao shout loudly from outside, young lady, the Crown Prince followed you here. He says he wants to see you." 7. Shen Beichen and I both froze. How could the Crown Prince know about this place? This was Shen Beichen's private residence, wasn't it? And he'd come looking for me. There was only one possible explanation. I pushed him hard, my eyes instantly red. A sudden wave of grievance washed over me. I choked up. "What do you mean by this? Are you using me to get back at the Crown Prince? You get a kick out of taking in the future Crown Princess he's known for years, don't you? Does it make you feel accomplished?" Shen Beichen actually stumbled and fell to the ground, a look of utter confusion on his face. "What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. If you hadn't told him, how would he have known I was here?" Furious, I stepped forward and slapped him. Slap. The sound had barely faded when Xiaotao's timid voice came from outside the door. "Young lady, I said the wrong thing just now. The Crown Prince, he's here to see young Master Shen." I was in a hurry and misspoke. "Oh, 8. Have you seen Xiao these past few days?" the Crown Prince asked. Shen Beichen had never liked the Crown Prince, and his tone was cold. "No." The Crown Prince let out a cold laugh. "Young General Shen really is good at lying through his teeth. Who doesn't know that the young lady of the Chen family has become famous in the capital for selling young General Shen's secrets? Either you're running to the Chen mansion, or she's running to the Shen mansion. What? Dare to do it but not dare to admit it. You care so much about Chen Xiao. Could it be that you still like her even after breaking off the engagement yourself?" I listened from behind the door, my hands clenched into fists silently. When father's trouble first happened, I went to the Crown Prince at once. Who would have thought he'd be holding another woman, not even glancing at me? "Do you still think you're the Prime Minister's daughter? Do you really think I'd still marry you without that title? You're just an arrogant, useless good-for-nothing. Don't take yourself too seriously. Don't bother me again from now on." Those words were etched in my mind. I could never forget them. How could he possibly still care about me? It was just that I'd walked away too gracefully, never going to see him again after that day. His male pride was hurt, that's all. Sure enough, he said, you're overthinking it. Chen Xiao is nothing more than an object to me. Without protection, she'd starve to death on her own. There's nothing for me to let go of. He changed his tone then, and added, I'm worried about you. Is it really worth it? Throwing away your whole life just for a bet with father? My ears pricked up at once. A bet? What bet? The next second, I heard Shenbaichen's deep voice. No hesitation in it at all. It's none of your business. Can't I like her? My heart skipped a beat instantly. He likes me. Shenbaichen actually likes me. 9. I can't remember what the crown prince said after that. Only Shenbaichen's words I like her echoed in my mind over and over again, until he pressed his hands firmly on my shoulders and shook me awake forcefully. Chen Xiao, what are you thinking about? Did you see the crown prince and rekindle your old feelings? All the joy in my heart vanished in an instant. Couldn't he say something nice? But he was covering his face, several bloody scratches from my nails marring his handsome features, looking absolutely miserable. I touched them carefully. Are you okay? I'm not dead, he snapped. Suddenly, he pulled an ice pack from behind his back and stuffed it into my hand. I thought he wanted me to ice his face to prevent swelling. Who would have thought he'd hold my hand directly and press the ice to the area around my eyes? Put this on, otherwise, your eyes will be swollen tomorrow. You cried so ugly. Oh, what's wrong with me? I think I'm actually a little moved. Why is my heart pounding for this ice-cold beauty? Could he really like me? Just as I was about to ask, he poured a bucket of cold water over my head. The second challenge. Learn to do business. What? I almost thought I'd misheard. He lay back on the bed and pulled me into his arms in one smooth motion. He didn't do anything else, just rested his chin on my forehead. His voice was muffled. Since he thinks you're a useless good-for-nothing who'd starve to death, then make him eat his words. You've lost a lot of your arrogance in the first challenge, and you've built up your connections too. You did great. For the second challenge, I'll be with you too. His voice was so firm, it had a calming power. I turned around and buried my head in his chest. For no reason, my heart felt like it had been pricked. The defense I'd held onto for so long crumbled all at once. I couldn't hold back my tears. Ever since father fell from power, everyone has been waiting to laugh at me, to laugh at the Chen family. They all said, what's the use of raising a spoiled young lady? She only knows how to eat, drink and have fun. Completely useless. But the man in front of me, he didn't take to me when everyone was fawning over me, even looked down on me for relying on others for everything. Yet now, when I'm down and out, he's telling me that I can do it. He said he'd be with me. He patted my back gently, coaxing me in a low voice. Don't cry, or your eyes will swell up again. This big ice block. He only has those few words to say over and over again. I cried even harder, sniffling and sobbing like a water pump. He suddenly let out a soft sigh. Then cry, sleep, and when you wake up tomorrow, my delicate young lady will be incredibly amazing. He held me, never letting go all night long. 10. From that day on, Shenbaichen hired a special tutor for me, a renowned merchant in the capital, who taught me bit by bit, though I started late. With the young general's dedicated supervision day and night, and my own hard study round the clock, I made remarkable progress in less than a month. The tutor praised my aptitude while sighing. Young General Shen is truly thoughtful. Now that Prime Minister Chen has fallen from power, the young lady cannot enter the court. Learning the way of business will ensure your wealth and prosperity in the future. I lowered my eyes slightly, my heart filled with softness. I kept the tea house in the capital, and using what I'd learned, I turned the fame that had once relied on Shenbaichen's gimmick into a place for tea, storytelling, and opera, where I even performed on stage myself. I also set up a recreation spot specially for the young ladies of the capital, where they could drink wine, recite poems, play pitchpot and archery. Everything the men had, we had, minus the judgmental stares and comments from the outside world. The capital's ladies' house became an instant sensation. And I was no longer just a down-and-out young lady with a reputation for being a useless fool. The relationship between Shen Beichen and me also underwent a subtle change after that night. He was still cold as ice, and I still liked to tease him. When he accompanied me in my late-night studies, I'd take a brush and draw on his face. As a result, when he went to the latrine, everyone in his mansion laughed at him all the way. But something was different now. He'd fly into a rage, and when he came back, he'd catch me and pull me into his arms, tickling me hard while leaning down to kiss me. I'd grin and dodge, never letting him land a kiss. You can only kiss me after we're married. What's the third challenge? What is it? What was the final test? Pass this, and I could marry him. Laughter sparkled in his eyes, his face lifted in a smile. He looked like a child, so cute. He took my hand and made me wipe the black ink off his face, then turned and smudged it all over mine. I'm still angry with you. If you behave well, I'll tell you. 11. The next day, eager to get the topic of the third challenge early, I got up at the crack of dawn, made a plate of pastries with my own hands, and hurried to meet Shen Beichen after court. On the way, I ran straight into the crown prince. I must not have misread it. His listless, delicate face suddenly broke into a smile, the corners of his mouth lifting uncontrollably, but he forced it down at once, looking annoyed. I told you not to come looking for me, didn't I? It won't look good if my future crown princess sees this. I rolled my eyes silently. Your Highness, do I know you? I'm here for my husband. The crown prince's face turned white in an instant. It's only been a little over a month since we broke off the engagement. Where did you get a husband? Right there. I saw Shen Beichen walking out just then, and I beamed, about to run towards him, but a hand from behind grabbed me and pulled me back. He whispered in my ear, Chen Xiao, do you really think Shen Beichen likes you? Do you think I don't know about the bet you made with father? Then do you know that father also made a bet with Shen Beichen? If he refuses to marry you, father will make him the Grand General of the capital. Tell me, what do you think he'll choose? His voice was low, like the whisper of a devil, and it undoubtedly sent my heart plummeting, because I had no answer either. 12. What are you daydreaming about at the desk? Why aren't you asleep? Since I started my studies, Shen Beichen had specially asked my parents for permission to let me live with him. But not only did nothing happen between us, he came home later and later every single day. It was late in the summer night, and I sat at the desk holding a brush, not noticing that the brush had been hanging in the air for a long time. The ink blotted a huge stain on the paper. Shen Beichen frowned. Chen Xiao, are you trying to ruin my study again? Even as he said it, he first fetched a handkerchief and carefully wiped the ink off my hands. His head bowed. His handsome face looked incredibly gentle. Why have you been so distracted lately? I pouted, my heart filled with irritation and anger. Today at the ladies' house, I'd heard the ladies say that the young General Shen's position in the court was becoming more and more important, and he was much loved by the emperor. The emperor intended to bestow a marriage on him after the crown prince's wedding, and promote him immediately after, officially saying it was for him to settle down and start a career. And these past few days, he'd been coming home later and later, never telling me what the third challenge was. Could it be true, as the crown prince said, that he never intended to marry me? Nothing. I raised my hand and pushed him away, walked to the bed alone, wrapped myself up in the quilt, and turned my back to him. I'd originally wanted to ask him, but I'd only just escaped from another man. Ask what? If he was like the crown prince, and said, don't overestimate yourself. Do you think you can stand in the way of my becoming Grand General? What could I say then? Besides, our feelings for each other were not necessarily deeper than what I'd had with the crown prince. Why stake everything on it and humiliate myself for nothing? Forget it. He hugged me from behind again. He whispered in my ear, what's wrong? Unhappy? The crown prince's wedding is in 2 days, and the emperor will hold a grand feast the day before. I'll take you into the palace to have fun. Okay. I lowered my eyes. Once the crown prince married, I would lose the bet with the emperor, and then my whole family would have to go to the borderlands. 13. The capital's ladies' house. The moment I walked in today, I felt the atmosphere was off. Everyone was looking at me, like they had something to say but didn't dare. Chang Wn pulled me aside in time. Do you know that young Master Shen is going to get married? I frowned. Who was he marrying? You really don't know? It's all over the capital. A princess from a neighboring state has come, and the emperor is going to bestow her on young General Shun. I clenched the book in my hand tightly. Tear. The book was torn apart in my hands at once. When did this happen? The day before the crown prince's wedding, I heard. The emperor is even going to hold a big feast for it. Shun Beichen. He wanted me to go to the palace just to watch the emperor bestow a marriage on him. Was this some kind of sick joke? But don't worry. This princess has something to do with the treason accusation against your father last time. Maybe he's also helping you investigate to clear your name. After all, everyone can see he likes you. Chang Wn rambled on and on. But all I felt was the world spinning around me. I couldn't hear a single word clearly. Bastard. I shouted. Xiaodao, help me back to the mansion to rest. Xiaodao didn't come. But someone else did. Xiaoa. That voice. It was the crown prince, 14. Perhaps because the crown prince's wedding was approaching. The palace was decorated with great festivity. Shun Beichen had specially sent someone to bring me a pale red embroidered robe, trimmed with dark yellow tassels, all the latest style from the Jiangnan region, paired with the hair ornaments he'd sent. The moment I entered the palace, many people couldn't help but glance at me. The Prime Minister's daughter has grown more and more beautiful, truly outstanding looks. The Prime Minister owes a lot to his wonderful daughter this time. These days, my business had been doing well, but I'd had someone handle the open connections on my behalf. And I only pretended to go there for recreation. After all, in the hierarchy of scholars, farmers, artisans, and merchants were the lowest. My days at the lady's house had let me build up more connections. Many court officials, after hearing their daughters talk, thought it over and jointly presented another memorial to the emperor, hoping to retry my father's case. That day, a single indictment accused my father of treason. And many gold and silver jewels were found in our home, leaving him unable to defend himself at the time. The retrial was not yet over, and coupled with his good reputation for caring for the people all these years and the support he had in the court, his official position was temporarily retained. And so, the tide turned, and all the people around me once again showered me with praise and admiration. Only this time, the man standing by my side was different. Could he stand by my side forever? Watching the princess from the neighboring state smile softly at him, her exotic charm adding to her beauty, I suddenly remembered what the crown prince had said to me that day. Xiaoa, once Shun Beichen is promoted, he will leave for the border at once. Do you think he can still protect you then? His tone was urgent, his eyes full of tenderness. Xiaoa, I never meant to give you up. It was all my mother's doing. She made me distance myself from your family. Forgive me just this once. Okay, give me another chance. Can you? He pulled me into his arms, no longer the gentle and jade-like man he once was, flustered like a child about to wet his pants. Just disentangle yourself from Shun Beichen on your own initiative before the emperor bestows the marriage. Say you're just friends, and your reputation won't be affected. I've made a deal with father. As long as you speak up, the bet between you and him will be voided. Your parents won't be exiled to the border, father has promised me. After I marry, father will bestow you on me as well. When I become emperor in the future, I'll find a way to make you my official empress. I'll protect you for a lifetime, free from all worries. Please, Xiaoa, just give me another chance. My mind was in a whirl. The crown prince was sitting right across from me, his eyes constantly gesturing at me. I watched as the emperor's topic shifted from the crown prince's wedding tomorrow to the fact that young General Shun was not getting any younger, and the princess from the border had come all this way. Shun Beichen sat beside me, as cold and silent as ever. His phoenix eyes were slightly narrowed, looking lazy and distracted. Beneath the table, one of his hands played with mine quietly, as if he hadn't heard a single word. Then I, today, bestow the marriage on young General Shun. I watched as the crown prince's eyes nearly popped out of his head. I opened my mouth, my body lifting slightly from the chair. Little Xiaoa, what's wrong? Before I could stand up, the emperor spoke to me. In an instant, all eyes in the hall were on me. 15. My legs fell asleep. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. My bottom barely left the chair before I sat back down again. Shun Beichen seemed to wake up from a dream. lifting his eyes to look at me, a hint of a smile in his gaze. I silently pulled my hand back from his. Forget it, relying on Shenbeichen, relying on the crown prince, no one is reliable. Now I have my own business, my own connections, why not live life on my own terms? Shenbeichen, he truly stirred my heart, no matter the outcome, at this moment. I don't want to cut ties with him. I think I have the courage to love recklessly, and the ability to protect myself. Then I'll follow my heart. As for the ending, Shenbeichen laced his fingers through mine again. Laughing softly, fireworks seemingly blooming in his eyes. Hey, are you stupid? He's over the moon about marrying a neighboring princess. Annoyed, I pinched him hard. Hiss, he winced in pain. What's this? Do you two have an objection to my betrothal? Two of us, meeting my confused gaze. The emperor rubbed his forehead and repeated helplessly, Little Xiao, I'm betrothing you to young General Shen. Do you have any objection? This, I've been betrothed, to marry Shenbeichen. What objection could I have? Before I could react, Shenbeichen pulled me to my feet, kowtowing to thank the emperor. Thank you for your majesty's kindness. Your subject is infinitely grateful. 16. When the feast ended, we returned to Shenbeichen's mansion. As soon as we entered the room, he suddenly swept me up in his arms, laid me on the bed, and pressed his lips to mine, our lips and teeth tangled, my consciousness fuzzy. And I heard him say, I'm finally going to marry you. I managed to push him away a little, staring and asking, Today the emperor didn't make you Grand General, didn't send you to guard the border, but sent the crown prince instead. Is it because you refused the marriage with the neighboring princess? Yes. He was frank, his eyes bright and beautiful. He brushed the loose hair by my ear, whispering, The emperor made me choose between you and the position of Grand General. I chose you. My eyes widened in surprise. Back then, the crown prince abandoned me without a second thought, so I no longer placed my hopes in anyone. I never thought he would. His voice was muffled as he explained, I've been coming home late these days because I took over your father's case, promising the emperor to find the traitor. Don't overthink things. I couldn't help but smile, asking again, What about my bet with the emperor? His cheeks flushed slightly, and he deliberately leaned in to kiss my eyes, hiding his embarrassment from me. I pushed him away, spit it out, quick, no kisses if you don't tell me. His fair face turned bright red as he said slowly, I begged for it. I wanted you to marry me willingly. It suddenly dawned on me, and I sat up, pushing him. Astonished, You've liked me since we were kids, haven't you? Then why didn't you tell me what the third challenge was? I still hadn't forgotten this. His eyes turned serious, solemn and affectionate. The third challenge was today's feast. I knew what the crown prince said to you. I just wanted to see if you would choose me firmly. If you had chosen the crown prince, I would have respected your choice. Chen Xiao, he called my name, his voice cold. I'm not like you and the crown prince. I don't like to force anything, especially your heart. But, here he paused, then suddenly pulled me into a tight hug, like a child afraid of losing his toy. He buried his face in the crook of my neck, laughing softly, unable to contain his joy. Fortunately, you passed. I can finally marry you. 17. On the eve of my wedding to Shenbeichen, also the day before the crown prince was to leave for the border, he came to see me several times, but was stopped by Shenbeichen's men every time. In the end, he only sent a note to me, I will take you back, even if it costs me my life. Beneath the words was a bright red bloodstain. I frequented the lady's house every day, so I naturally knew that since the emperor sent the crown prince to guard the border, his already shaky political ties had become even more precarious. He allied with this person today, fell out with that one tomorrow, curried favor with whoever had power, then ran off at the first sign of trouble. He had long lost the emperor's favor. That blood-red handprint made my heart flutter with anxiety. I simply turned back to my room to sleep. And Xiaodao came to find me just then. Young lady, the Princess of Qi has come to send wedding gifts. Master told you to wait in your boudoir, and he'll come to fetch you in person. The princess was of noble status, so I dared not neglect her. I thought it was just a courtesy call. So I told Xiaodao to invite her in at once. Who would have thought that after the servants left, she curved her lips into a smile, beautiful, yet vicious. Miss Chen. You say young General Shun would give up the position of general for you. Then would he give up his own life for you? Before I could react, she stepped forward, quickly pulled a handkerchief from behind me, and covered my mouth and nose. I lost consciousness in an instant. 18. When I woke up again, everything was dark. It was night, in a field. The night sky was bright, dotted with stars. I should have been at home, wearing my wedding dress, waiting for my husband to come and fetch me. But now, a knife was pressed to my neck, and the beautiful princess's face was expressionless. Not far away, that back figure, I recognized it at a glance. It was the crown prince. 19. He was wearing a bright red groom's robe, even a wedding hat. He walked slowly towards me. Xiao, look, we're going to get married, I sneered. What, is the crown prince going back on his word? You were the one who broke off the engagement in the first place. He flew into a rage, shouting at me. His voice sounded like the howl of a lone wolf in the silent wilderness. I didn't. It was your father who was going to expose me. Otherwise, how could I have refused to marry you? Expose? I looked at him, then lifted my eyes to the neighboring princess. Suddenly, everything clicked. You sicken me, for your own gain. You'd even betray your own country. Slap. He struck me across the face, then hugged me like a madman. I didn't. My mother taught me this. She said father doesn't like our mother and son, so we have to fight for power. If we can't win, we take it. In short, we can't let others have it. It's the same with power. And the same with you. Xiao, my mother has finally agreed to let us be together. As long as we cooperate with Qi, they'll keep us safe, and even help us seize the throne. Father doesn't like me anymore. He's going to make someone else crown prince. We have to leave, and take you with us. His delicate, handsome face had turned numb and hideous. I knew there was no more to say. You're dreaming. I'm Shenbaichen's bride. I'd die before I go with you. The metallic taste of blood spread in my mouth, stirring a desire to survive. I can't wait for someone to save me. I have to find a way to save myself. Even if there's only a glimmer of hope. I suddenly thought of my wedding dress. Shenbaichen had specially sewn a small knife into the back of my wedding dress. I'd laughed at him then, saying what if these weird things hurt me? What had he said in reply? As I thought about it, my eyes grew a little wet, and my hands were already nimbly fraying the rope binding me. Wedding dresses are cumbersome and complicated. I hope this won't be your shackle. I left a knife for you. If one day you're trapped or tired, you can cut through this dress without hesitation. Slap. The crown prince struck me again, his shout deafening, just enough to cover the sound of me fraying the rope. I leaned against the tree. No one could see what my hands were doing. You think Shenbaichen will come to save you? Tonight I used father's token to divert all his soldiers. His alone. Behind me are the army of Qi. Why would he risk his life to save you? I gritted my teeth. You're so pathetic. Waiting for someone to save you your whole life. Shenbaichen's voice echoed in my ears. Chen Xiao, in this world, there are many times when you can only rely on yourself. Even if I love you more than life itself, I still hope you have the ability to protect yourself. Crack. The rope broke. I quietly clutched the knife in my palm, watching as the crown prince reached out to lift me up and put me on his horse. He said, I gave him a chance. I waited here for him on purpose. It's a pity. I slid the knife out of my sleeve quietly only to hear the sound of hooves in the distance. Chen Xiao, it was Shenbaichen. 20. Both of them panicked visibly, especially the neighboring princess. She stepped forward to grab me, and I slit her throat with the knife. Blood splattered all over the crown prince. In the split second he froze. Shenbaichen heard the commotion and galloped to my side. The crown prince reacted quickly too, yanking me to his chest and pressing the knife to my neck. Don't move, one more step, and I'll kill her. You dared to come alone, so you must be very. He had never practiced martial arts, and I could feel him straining. I gave Shenbaichen a look, and without hesitation, used the shoddy martial arts he'd taught me at the mansion to elbow him hard. His arm loosened slightly, his body staggering. I heard Shenbaichen shout, Chen Xiao, close your eyes. This time, blood splattered on me. In the blink of an eye, I was held firmly in a familiar embrace. His familiar voice rang out again as he took the knife I'd been clutching tightly. His voice was filled with deep heartache. I'm sorry I'm late, I froze, still in a daze. I'm so awesome, so brave, but I'd never even killed a chicken before. And now I'd killed a person. It's terrifying. Woo-woo. I couldn't hold it in any longer, and burst into loud sobs. 21. Chen had struck with precision. The crown prince was only slightly injured. He was escorted back to the capital by Chen, charged with heinous crimes, and sentenced to immediate beheading. My father's name was finally cleared. It turned out the crown prince had framed him on purpose to cover up his own crimes. He resumed his position as prime minister. My status became even more noble, yet I was no longer the arrogant, ignorant girl who only knew how to eat, drink and have fun as a child. I still managed my business in the dark, befriending everyone, for a time. My reputation was unrivaled. Chen had rendered meritorious service, and the emperor bestowed rewards upon him. He only asked for some money, and refused all the beautiful women the emperor gave him. 1 yu is enough. For just 1 yu, I've waited for many years. His voice was gentle, full of love. 2 months later, he waited until my emotions had calmed and my mood had almost recovered before coming to marry me. Beneath the red hijab, I walked steadily. He held me firmly by the arm. First bow to heaven and earth, second bow to our elders, third bow to each other as husband and wife. Red lanterns hung high outside the house, laughter ringing out endlessly. Inside, candlelight flickered, the red double happiness characters bright and vivid. Our ragged breaths grew heavier, and this time, we did not stop. I whispered in his ear, Chen, thank you, I love you, thank you for letting me find you, who loves me, and myself, who I love.